Millions of people around the world take blood pressure medication every single day without realizing that they might be using it incorrectly. High blood pressure has become so common that many people believe it is a lifelong condition, something you simply have and must treat forever with pills. But here's the surprising truth. High blood pressure is not always the real problem. In many cases, it is simply the warning siren your body uses to signal that something else, something deeper, is going wrong inside. Yet instead of searching for the actual cause, many people jump straight into long-term medication, and this misunderstanding can lead to years of unnecessary side effects, weakened organs, and even worse blood pressure control. In today's video, we'll uncover 3 dangerous mistakes people make with blood pressure medication, and then answer the 4 most frequently asked questions about hypertension. Questions that everyone should know but that very few doctors take the time to fully explain. Mistake number 1 is believing you must take blood pressure medication forever. Most people think high blood pressure is a permanent disease. But in reality, blood pressure rises for a reason, and often, that rise is temporary and completely normal. Your blood pressure naturally increases when your body is healing inflammation or an injury, when you're stressed or emotionally overwhelmed, or when blood flow becomes restricted or blocked. You walk upstairs, exercise, or lift something heavy. You're angry, anxious, or surprised. You're cold or your body temperature changes. These fluctuations are not disease, they're part of the body's automatic emergency system. The real question isn't, how do I lower the number? The real question is, why is the number rising in the first place? When the root problem, such as chronic inflammation, kidney issues, hormonal imbalance, excess weight, high stress, or a sedentary lifestyle, is fixed, blood pressure often drops naturally. Unfortunately, many people are told they must stay on medication for life, without ever investigating what their body is really trying to warn them about. You've probably seen people panic when their reading goes above 130 or 140 millimeters of mercury. But the truth is simple. Blood pressure is not designed to stay the same all day. Your body adjusts your pressure minute by minute based on movement, temperature, emotions, breathing, stress, and circulation changes. If you force your blood pressure too low with medication, you might end up with symptoms even more dangerous than the high reading itself. These can include dizziness or lightheadedness, extreme fatigue, cold hands and feet, poor blood flow to the brain, difficulty concentrating, and, an increased risk of falling, especially in older adults. A healthy circulatory system isn't one that stays at a fixed number, but one that responds correctly to your body's needs. Medication can save lives during emergencies, but relying on it long-term without addressing the root cause can honestly lead to some serious side effects. Here are the 4 most common long-term problems. First, tingling or numbness in hands and feet. When blood vessels are artificially dilated for long periods, circulation to the extremities can drop, causing numbness or coldness. Second, there's a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. Certain blood pressure drugs affect how the body controls insulin and glucose, making it easier for blood sugar to rise. Third, reduced kidney function. Kidneys depend on carefully regulated blood flow, and long-term disruption from medication can weaken the filtering units called nephrons. Certain blood pressure drugs affect how the body controls insulin and glucose, making it easier for blood sugar to rise. Third, reduced kidney function. Kidneys depend on carefully regulated blood flow. Long-term disruption from medication can weaken the filtering units, called nephrons. Fourth, autonomic nervous system imbalance. This system controls automatic functions like heart rate, sweating, and temperature regulation. When medications interfere, you may experience irregular heartbeat, sudden sweating, or unstable blood pressure. So, let's talk about autonomic nervous system imbalance. This system, it actually controls automatic functions like your heart rate, sweating, and how your body regulates temperature. When medications interfere with this system, you might experience things like an irregular heartbeat, sudden sweating, or even unstable blood pressure. Again, medication is not the enemy here. It's really the misuse and over-reliance on it that causes problems. Alright, let's tackle the first question. Can high blood pressure be reversed? Can high blood pressure be reversed? In many cases, yes, but only when the underlying cause is treated. High blood pressure often improves dramatically when problems such as kidney dysfunction, obesity, or high cholesterol, chronic inflammation, poor circulation, hormonal imbalance, or high stress and anxiety are properly addressed. Your body is designed to self-regulate. When obstacles are removed, blood pressure often normalizes on its own. So, what blood pressure level is truly dangerous? Well, a reading above 140/90 is generally considered high. But, the level considered a true emergency is usually around 180/100 millimeters of mercury or higher. Temporary spikes, for example, rising to 160 or even 170 during exercise, anger, or stress, are not uncommon. However, emotional shock is different. A single moment of intense stress, like, say, receiving terrible news, can cause a rapid spike that triggers a stroke or heart attack, even in those who take medication regularly. So remember, context matters just as much as the number. Question 3. Why doesn't my blood pressure go down even when I take medication? This is honestly extremely common, and it frustrates many patients. Possible reasons include the real cause, like kidney disease or a hormonal imbalance, remains untreated. Chronic stress continuously raises adrenaline and cortisol. Sometimes the body develops tolerance to one medication. The dosage might not be appropriate, or maybe the wrong type of medication is prescribed. That's why some people end up on 2, 3, or even 4 different blood pressure drugs, not because their condition is worse, but because, honestly, the true source of the problem was never found. So, question 4. How can I naturally lower my blood pressure? Here are 3 powerful and practical steps. Step 1. Reduce inflammation and support the body's detox systems. Help your liver, kidneys, and blood vessels function better by focusing on foods that reduce swelling, support blood vessel elasticity, improve circulation, and remove toxins and excess fluids. Greens, berries, garlic, turmeric, ginger, beetroot, citrus fruits, and, hydration all play a significant role. Step 2. Practice deep, slow breathing. Breathing is honestly one of the fastest natural ways to relax the nervous system. Deep breathing increases oxygen flow, lowers stress hormones, and, helps the heart pump more efficiently. Just 5 minutes a day can significantly lower blood pressure for many people. Step 3 is to improve circulation through movement and acupressure. Poor circulation is, honestly, one of the biggest hidden causes of high blood pressure. When blood flow is blocked or restricted, the heart, well, it has to forcefully push harder. Simple acupressure on kidney points as well as back and neck points that improve blood flow to the brain and foot and leg points that open circulation pathways can really make a difference. Combined with gentle walking, stretching, and joint mobility exercises, these approaches can help reset the body's natural.
While most people focus only on lowering the numbers on a blood pressure monitor, very few understand that hypertension is actually a circulation problem long before it becomes a blood pressure problem. When blood cannot move smoothly through the vessels, the heart is forced to push harder. Over time, this constant pressure creates stiffness, inflammation, and narrowing inside the arteries, turning a temporary stress response into a chronic condition. One of the most overlooked contributors is hidden inflammation. This type of inflammation doesn't cause pain or fever. Instead, it quietly irritates the inner lining of the blood vessels. When the lining becomes inflamed, the vessels lose elasticity. They become less able to expand and contract. This forces the heart to work against a more rigid system, increasing blood pressure even during rest. Another silent but powerful factor is poor lymphatic drainage. The lymphatic system works like a waste removal network, clearing toxins, excess fluid, and inflammatory particles from the bloodstream. When the lymphatic system becomes sluggish, often from lack of movement, dehydration, or chronic stress, fluid can accumulate in tissues. This increases vascular pressure and forces the heart to pump harder. People often think swelling in the legs is just water retention, but it's actually part of a deeper circulation cycle that directly impacts blood pressure. In addition to inflammation and lymphatic issues, imbalances in the autonomic nervous system create another major burden. The nervous system has two branches, the sympathetic system, or fight or flight, and the parasympathetic system, or rest and repair. When the sympathetic system is dominant for too long, blood vessels tighten, heart rate increases, and the body stays in a permanent state of alertness. For many people, this is the true cause of their hypertension, but it is almost never addressed through medication alone. Even small daily triggers, such as rushing in traffic, lack of sleep, or constant overthinking, keep the body locked in a cycle that elevates blood pressure without any obvious symptoms. Beyond these internal factors, the condition of your blood vessels themselves determines how easily blood can flow. Arteries that are flexible, smooth, and well-nourished allow blood to pass effortlessly. But arteries that have been damaged by decades of processed foods, excessive sugar, smoking, or sedentary habits gradually accumulate plaque. This plaque narrows the pathways and creates turbulence inside the vessels, much like a clogged water pipe. The narrower the artery, the higher the pressure required to push blood through it. This is one reason why lifestyle changes can be more powerful than medication. Because medication temporarily adjusts pressure, but lifestyle directly affects the structure and flexibility of the blood vessels. Another aspect that many people underestimate is the relationship between the kidneys and blood pressure. The kidneys act as pressure regulators, filtering blood and adjusting fluid balance. When they sense reduced circulation or stress signals, they activate hormones that raise blood pressure in an attempt to improve their own blood supply. This creates a vicious cycle. Reduced blood flow leads to kidney stress, which triggers hormone release, resulting in increased blood pressure and, in turn, even more kidney stress. Supporting kidney health through hydration, mineral balance, and circulation-boosting habits can break this cycle naturally. In addition to organs and vessels, muscle tension also plays a surprising role. Tight muscles in the neck, shoulders, and upper back can restrict blood flow to the brain and send signals to the nervous system to increase pressure. People who sit for long hours, especially with poor posture, often develop muscular compression around major arteries. This creates resistance in circulation and forces the heart to compensate. Simple movements such as neck rotations, shoulder opening stretches, or deep chest breathing can release this tension and lower pressure more effectively than many people realize. A lesser-known contributor is temperature imbalance. When the hands or feet are chronically cold, it often indicates reduced peripheral circulation. The body responds by raising pressure to force more blood toward the extremities. This is why keeping the body warm, improving leg circulation, and avoiding sudden exposure to cold temperatures can have a real impact on blood pressure stability. For some individuals, cold-triggered constriction can even be more influential than diet or stress. Food choices play a large part as well, not only through sodium or fat content, but through their impact on cellular health. Foods high in antioxidants help repair the inner lining of blood vessels, while foods rich in potassium, magnesium, and natural nitrates improve vessel dilation and oxygen delivery. Many people underestimate the power of these nutrients because they work slowly and silently, but their long-term effects on vascular flexibility are profound. Circulation-supporting habits are equally essential. Light movement throughout the day keeps blood from pooling in the legs, prevents lymphatic stagnation, and maintains vessel elasticity. Even 2 to 3 minutes of walking every hour can significantly reduce pressure on the heart. People with desk jobs or sedentary lifestyles often see dramatic improvements when they adopt simple routines. Heel raises, ankle rotations, deep breathing breaks, or short walks. Hydration is another overlooked strategy. When the body is dehydrated, blood becomes thicker, forcing the heart to pump more forcefully. Many people experience higher readings simply because they drink too little water or consume too many dehydrating beverages like coffee, alcohol, or sugary drinks. Improving hydration, even by 1 or 2 extra glasses per day, can reduce pressure in surprising ways. Finally, one of the most empowering ideas is this. Blood pressure is not a fixed condition. It is a dynamic measurement that reflects daily habits, emotional states, organ function, and circulation quality. Instead of trying to control it through one method, the most effective approach is to support the entire system that creates healthy pressure in the first place. When inflammation decreases, circulation improves, tension releases, the nervous system calms, and the kidneys regain balance, blood pressure often returns to a healthy range naturally, and, unlike temporary medication effects, these improvements create long-term stability and resilience. Another core factor that many people overlook when talking about blood pressure is hormonal imbalance. Hormones don't just regulate emotions or metabolism, they directly influence how blood vessels expand or constrict, and how the heart reacts to stress signals. Cortisol, adrenaline, aldosterone, insulin, and thyroid hormones all play critical roles in controlling how forcefully blood flows through the body. When any of these hormones rise or fall abnormally, the body adjusts blood pressure as a survival response. Take cortisol, for example, the hormone released during stress. Elevated cortisol can constrict blood vessels, increase heart rate, and push blood pressure above normal levels. For many people, high blood pressure doesn't come from salty food or lack of exercise, but simply from living in a constant state of alert mode due to prolonged stress. Similarly, aldosterone regulates the body's salt and water balance. When this hormone becomes overactive, often because of adrenal gland issues, the body retains more sodium, increases blood volume, and drives blood pressure up. Thyroid disorders also play a major role. An overactive thyroid accelerates the heart, increases blood flow, and raises systolic blood pressure. On the other hand, an underactive thyroid can increase diastolic pressure because blood vessels become stiffer and less elastic. Unfortunately, many people spend years treating high blood pressure without realizing that the true cause lies in their endocrine system. Another important factor is circadian rhythm. The body is designed to have higher blood pressure in the morning and lower pressure at night, but irregular sleep patterns, sleeping late, poor quality sleep, or excessive screen time at night can disrupt this natural rhythm. When the body releases more cortisol in the evening, blood pressure fails to drop during sleep as it should. Some people have high blood pressure simply because they have been sleeping at the wrong time for years. Microcirculation, the movement of blood through tiny vessels, also plays a crucial role. Even when major arteries are healthy, blocked or constricted capillaries caused by cold temperatures, stress, excessive sugar intake, or inactivity can still increase overall pressure. When blood can't pass through these small channels, it backs up into larger vessels, forcing the heart to pump harder. This often happens to people with cold hands and feet, or those who sit for long hours without moving. Mineral imbalance is another commonly ignored cause. Potassium, magnesium, and calcium help regulate the electrical charge of blood vessel cells. Low magnesium makes vessels prone to constriction. Low potassium causes the body to retain more sodium, and excess calcium stiffens the vessels. This is why people who take diuretics for many years often lose potassium, making their blood pressure difficult to control even when taking multiple medications. Inside the blood vessels, nitric oxide, often called NO, plays the role of a natural highway opener. NO helps blood vessels relax, reduces pressure on the heart, and improves circulation. But poor nutrition, chronic stress, high blood sugar, and toxins dramatically reduce NO production. Many people suffer from high blood pressure simply because their body lacks enough NO. Another key element is the elasticity of the arteries. When the inner lining of blood vessels, known as the endothelium, is damaged by chemicals from smoking, sugar, trans fats, or oxidative stress, the arteries become stiffer over time. When vessels lose flexibility, the heart must pump with greater force to push blood through, causing blood pressure to rise naturally with age. Improving arterial elasticity through nutrition, movement, and stress management often lowers blood pressure more effectively than medication. All these factors, hormones, circadian rhythm, microcirculation, arterial elasticity, minerals, and nitric oxide, form a complex system that, honestly, few people truly understand. When one link breaks, blood pressure rises as a protective response. This is why a holistic approach is far more effective than focusing only on the numbers on a blood pressure monitor. Another often overlooked influence is suppressed emotions. Feelings like anger, anxiety, fear, or emotional hurt directly activate the sympathetic nervous system. When emotions are suppressed for long periods, the body never gets the chance to release stress energy, causing quiet but persistent vessel constriction. Many people live with high blood pressure for years simply because they are stuck in chronic emotional tension without even realizing it. Negative emotions also raise adrenaline and noradrenaline. Those are two hormones that accelerate the heartbeat and narrow blood vessels. Even so-called mild emotions, like worrying work pressure or just feeling unsafe, can keep the nervous system in a heightened state. When this happens day after day, it actually becomes a form of psychological hypertension. This type is pretty tough to control with medication, but it can improve a lot when someone learns how to relax properly. Breathing patterns matter as well. Shallow breathing, chest breathing, or rapid breathing. These all signal the body to stay on high alert, and that raises blood pressure. On the other hand, deep diaphragmatic breathing actually activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which helps vessels relax and lowers your heart rate. Research shows that just 5 minutes of deep breathing each day can significantly reduce blood pressure in people with mild to moderate hypertension. Muscles also play a part in circulation. Tight muscles from inactivity or poor posture can compress major vessels in the neck, shoulders, back, and legs. This reduces blood return to the heart and forces it to pump harder. A lot of office workers experience this type of hypertension, but, it often improves quite a bit with simple posture corrections and regular stretching of the neck, shoulders, and back. The digestive system is another surprising factor. When the intestines are inflamed, bloated, or chronically constipated, abdominal pressure increases. This reduces blood flow from the legs back to the heart, creating hydrostatic pressure that makes the heart work harder. Improving gut health with probiotics, fiber, warm water, and gentle movement can ease the burden on the heart. Proper hydration is also essential. Not too little, but not excessive. Drinking too little makes blood thicker, while drinking too much at once strains the kidneys and disrupts electrolytes. The best habit is sipping small amounts throughout the day, choosing warm water, and avoiding large amounts before bed to prevent sleep disruption. Another key factor influencing blood pressure. Even the skeletal system affects blood pressure. Misalignment of the spine, compressed nerves, or poor neck mobility can interfere with the signaling that controls the heart and blood vessels. This can lead to persistent hypertension even when someone eats very healthily. Improving posture, stretching the spine, and strengthening the back and core muscles can naturally support blood pressure regulation. And finally, daily micro-habits matter more than most people realize. Eating too fast, sleeping late, tense driving, working non-stop without breaks, or not getting enough sunlight can disrupt circadian rhythm, hormones, and circulation. Over time, these small habits accumulate and push blood pressure upward. Yet, making small changes, like a 10-minute morning walk, 5 minutes of sunlight, reducing sugar, or breathing deeply before bed, creates a powerful cumulative effect that stabilizes blood pressure. If you want your body to truly stay healthy and maintain stable blood pressure in the long run, the key is not relying on medication alone or a single magic tip. It's about creating a lifestyle that supports circulation, hormones, the nervous system, sleep, and emotional balance. When the body functions in harmony, blood pressure naturally falls into a healthy range without force. And if you find this knowledge helpful, remember to subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments, and follow Live Healthy every day, so you never miss future videos packed with valuable information to help you and your loved ones live a healthier, happier life.